Hey guys, welcome to my podcast channel. And I would like to welcome Aafreen, my wife, to this podcast as well. Aafreen is a huge cinephile. I have been inspired by her, to watch a lot of these movies that I usually watch. And we recently watched My Old Ass together this weekend, and both of us absolutely loved it. We both connected at the same level to this movie. In fact, I remember there was a scene when we both had tears in our eyes, and we just happened to look at each other, and we were surprised that, it affected us equally, right? So I thought this is a good chance to collaborate with Afreen on this movie, and discuss what we loved about this movie, what she thinks about this movie. I've already shared my review with all of you, but it would be I would love Afreen to give her opinion and tell what she connected with the movie and how she felt when she saw the movie. So, Afreen, the mic is yours.
So, what actually piqued my interest about the movie is Aubrey Plaza. I have seen many of her interviews with Jimmy Fallon and late night shows, and I always feel like she's so quirky and she's always funny in a weird way. Um, she's not like cracking jokes, she's just being very, atypical.
Yeah,
So, I was just interested to watch the movie because of her. And I don't watch trailers, so I had no idea what it was about. And you were in charge of booking all the movies, so I didn't even know what
right.
you were booking. So we
Yeah,
went there, and yeah, it was set very beautifully. It was a house which overlooked a water body up on a mountain, and her parents were farmers who had like cranberry field or something. And there was one,
yes,
I
yeah,
almost wanted to capture it on camera because an entire lake of cranberry was just floating around and they were doing something with it. And it was just like, it was a world building, right? There was a world
yeah,
which we are not a part of, which we don't get to experience. So you're entering a world of mountains and rivers and a lifestyle of children knowing how to boat alone in
right.
like deep waters. So I loved the entire setup, and the girl was super cute.
Mm,
So I mean, we are also falling in love with the lead pairs as the movie progresses, which I think is important. If you don't like the lead, it's very difficult to watch a movie. So the girl was super
exactly.
cute, and we could identify her struggles and her thought process. And it's such a tough subject to deal with when a child is discovering the sexual side of themselves. Like now in India, it's probably younger people are more experienced, but it's always nice to see that part in a movie, um, because that doesn't really, we don't really see that in India. So to
Exactly.
see a young person discovering that part of themselves, and for them to then come to terms with just feeling absolutely what they did have never felt before. So that part was yeah, it's a revelation to us and to the character as well. So
Yes,
we
exactly.
are the audience and the protagonist are both growing at the same time. And the girl was super cute, and Aubrey Plaza, she brought her cockiness and everything. And and they get away with the thing, because she's speaking to her older self. She's literally calling her older self through a telephone. And I mean, the name of the movie comes from that. My old ass means that her older self. Like,
Yeah.
you have to, because of Aubrey, her real self, you're like, yeah, this could happen, probably.
Yes.
So you just take it with a
Right.
pinch of salt, but it works for the movie, and it works beautifully.
Yeah.
Like the parents are like there in the movie, not for a major part, but they are there. They are probably
Mm,
there as much as parents are in a teenager's life, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
they are there at the crucial points, and she's told by her older self to spend more time with the parents and with her brother, and she takes up that advice, and it leads to some very, very beautiful moments. The one with the Mother is when we were both crying at the same time.
Right,
It was
right.
beautifully set up. They are on a porch of some kind, overlooking the water, and they are both looking at water. They are not even looking at themselves, and they are talking even just without looking. And the girl is tearing up a little bit, and the mom then says something so beautiful that
Yeah,
we start crying. So yeah, it was such a beautiful movie, and I love it when the setting is pretty and beautiful, and it's a world that I am discovering. Like, it's a part of the world, but it's not something I would ever experience. So living in Florida, I know that kids get their sailing license. They are like professional sailors. They get license of that sort. So it's interesting to know that that thing exists. Like, there is a sailing license. Like, I would, I didn't even know that.
right.
It was, yeah, it was just wonderful in terms of the world that they build and the evolution the character goes through, and Aubrey's, quirkiness, and all the sweet moments that kind of make you feel something. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I loved it.
Absolutely, I agree with you, and that's the reason I wanted to discuss this movie, specifically this movie with you, because I thought we both connected at the same level. I know for a lot of movies we don't connect at the same level, but for this one we did. And while we talk about the great things about the movie, some things that you observe usually is the beauty in the movie, right? And the world that has been created for the movie. So that's something that you are attracted towards because that's your forte as such. So I also agree with you on that, although I didn't speak about that part in my review, and it's good that you brought that aspect into the review. That gives a more wholesome picture about the movie. And what I loved, one more thing that I loved about the movie is that while the plot of the movie, right, is a little illogical, one might say, but you never feel that. That's number one. And number two, the movie seems so realistic in spite of having such an unrealistic element in it, right? It seems very realistic. It seems like people are actually communicating, the mother daughter. It's like a mother daughter, the way they would communicate, or the brother sister. I mean, the brother sister chemistry was also wonderful, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have been an elder sister. I have been an elder brother. I'm still an elder, we are still elder brothers. But when we were teenagers, the way we would treat our younger siblings, so there is so much that you relate to when you're watching it, and I think as a parent, someone feeling that, okay, yeah, there is this joy that you're getting that your child is growing, but at the same time, that they are not going to be with you at all the times. I'm sure that parents experience that,
And
especially
it's
in
called the
countries.
emptiness syndrome. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially, in countries where usually once the child reaches college, they don't really stay with their parents, they just
Yeah.
visit them, In India, I think it's a little different for a lot of us. So maybe we don't experience it as much, but still, we do go through that experience. But yeah, so that's one thing. And I also have mentioned this in the movie and in my review, and her interaction with the boy. I know both of us were not really fond of that the actor who played that character, but you were saying that he reminds you of me in some ways, right? Like, yeah, you want to talk about that now? What is that thing
Yeah,
that reminds you?
yeah, all men are just boys, you know. They have just grown
Yes.
up physically, but mentally they are just boys. So
Okay, so I
he
will.
keeps
You want to
repeating,
talk? Okay, yeah.
yeah, he keeps
Sorry.
repeating whatever the girl says. The girl is like emotional and she says, um, I'm thankful to know you, and he'll say, I'm thankful to know you, and she'll say, I'm grateful to be in this moment, and he'll be like, I'm grateful to be in this. And I just looked at her like, oh my God, come on, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I have had many of these moments with you, so it was relatable to us. And I mean, we don't want to talk about the twist, obviously, but there is a nice twist in the movie as well. And and that's the best part of the movie for me was the fact that how much ever you try to warn someone about something that don't do this,
Mm.
you end up doing it. It's just a part of our experience, and I think that's a lesson that the movie is trying to say, that you learn from your own experience, and so you should experience life. In fact, the best part of or the best dialogue in the movie is when the 18-year-old gives an advice to the 39-year-old, and that changes her outlook, the 39-year-old's outlook, you
Yeah.
know which usually doesn't happen, right? I mean, when you grow up with your experience, you are the one who is supposed to give
Mm.
more advices,
Mm.
but it's the 18-year-old who tells us that, you just live your life. Don't be so scared, or, afraid to experience something. It's important that you go through those experiences.
Yeah.
So I love that part as well. Anything else that you wanted to specifically talk about this movie, and that the way it affected you, or the way it made you feel?
I think it's for people like who are open to different concepts, such as like, different sexual preference, a different world, and how characters develop, like, over a period of time, how you grow into a different person from what you were. So it's for people with an open mind who can like imbibe everything,
Mhm.
right? Like it's important to do that. Like, it will open up your world and it will make you more tolerant, more acceptable of a different viewpoint. Like we cannot just say that this doesn't happen in India, or this only happens somewhere else, or um this is not my world, like I have nothing to do with it, because you never know what you'll come across in life. And yeah, as you said, right, when you may listen to a younger person's advice, and you have to be open to that. Like maybe Aubrey lived her life where she was like ready to experiment with everything, and then at 39, she was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I can't take any more sadness or something. And she closed herself. And then this
Mhm.
younger self said, like, no, 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 don't do that. Open yourself up again. So it's what, yeah. So it's like, you have to keep an open mind for everything in life, and it's going to be helpful. But overall, it's an entertaining movie. Like,
Yeah,
the philosophy aside, it's an entertaining movie. So yeah, just go and watch it for entertainment. You will have.
exactly. And I was going to say the same thing, that while the subject, and as you mentioned here, that while there are things about the movie where you would need an open mind, but as a movie, as a movie goer, the first thing that you look for is that it should be entertaining, and it is entertaining.
Yeah.
It's got all the emotions, right? It's got comedy, it's got heavy scenes. I mean, not really heavy dramatic scenes, but some scenes that tug your
I think
heartstrings.
the right type of drama kind of makes you feel something. If it's over dramatic, then you're like, what the hell are they doing? So
Yeah,
this is just a right kind of realistic feeling wala, drama that, it makes you feel
right.
something. It tugs at your heartstrings. So
Yes.
it's absolutely like, I don't know who's the director, but they got it right. They got everything right. It felt
Yeah.
as if somebody's life was actually like this. Somebody actually
Yeah.
wrote their life, and it felt like that.
Yeah, and by the way, the movie is set in Canada, so shout out to our Canada fans and our friends who live in Canada. We have a lot of them, and it was very beautiful, right? I mean, the part of Canada that you showed in the movie was so beautiful that we feel like visiting that place.
We
You
feel
know?
like visiting, and I was surprised ki what is this place which is not cold? Like we always associate
Yeah,
Canada with cold weather. So they were swimming in the water all the time, and I'm like,
yeah,
wow, to have safe water with no alligators. We are from Florida. I'm like, oh, so lucky to be in water without any fear. And there was
right.
comedy about that also, where she gets scared and starts acting crazy, and the guy enacts that. You remember? Yeah.
Yeah,
So, they have fun with that also. So, yeah, it was, yeah, it was a different world. Yeah, like, and you
yeah,
feel the freshness of the movie. Like, the locales are fresh, the kids are fresh. So, we need freshness in movies for sure. It was.
absolutely. I agree with you on that. Great. So I think both of us strongly recommend each one of you to watch this movie, right? I mean, don't think of this movie as a very different movie. So it's not for us, it is for everyone. Even though it is about a 18-year-old girl, but I'm sure the youngsters will relate to the movie as much as the adults would, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we are like in our 40s and we related to this movie. So I'm sure that people of our age and for sure the youngsters, right? The youngsters are the ones who are going to probably connect even more, with the character of Elliot, the 18-year-old Elliot, So watch this movie in a theater because such movies should be experienced in a theater. And please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button if you like this video. Thank you again, Afreen, for being a part of this
Thank
podcast.
you, Karthik.